Hello and welcome, fellow gamers, to this Polygon review interview with me, Sebastian Kroberg. Today I'm talking with none other than renowned pro gamer Tyler NonY Wasieleski, Protoss Master and TSL contender. Good morning, NonY. How's it going today, and how have you been doing lately?
Oh, it's been going great. Really busy schedule lately, but I'm doing great.
Well, I can imagine. We will focus mostly in this interview on the current TSL, the upcoming matches, and how it's been going so far, of course. But first of all, I'd like to ask you, at the moment of this recording, the MSL finals between Jadong and Flash only took place a couple of hours ago, and this caused quite a stir. Could you tell us a little bit how that went down and your thoughts about it?
Yeah, well, it started out as a regular series. It started out as one of the most hyped finals ever, with two of the best players that we've ever seen. And the first two games went well, I thought. In the third game, they had a power outage right near what pretty much everyone agrees is the end of the game, with Jadong winning, but not quite over yet. And the governing association, TESPA, went ahead and ruled that Jadong should get the win. Normally we see a regame played in these situations, even when there's a great advantage for one player. But they went ahead and gave Jadong the win. And then I think we saw in the fourth game that Flash was no longer able to play his best game, and Jadong went ahead and took the series right after that with ease.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that it was a fairly anticlimactic resolution to maybe the most hyped up finals for a very long time. Do you think that the referees did the right thing, or should they have, for the sake of entertainment at least, replayed the game?
I think they did the right thing. I agree with the decision, and in the past I've always wanted them to award wins when they often forced regames. I think sometimes it's clear who's winning, and that person should go ahead and get the win. But what I do think, I haven't read a lot of discussion on it so far. I haven't had time yet, but I don't know if anyone's been saying this. I think Flash should have just immediately said, okay, the game was over. Jadong can have the win. I think if Flash would have done that, he would have had a much better chance in the fourth game. I don't see how he can come back in the fourth game after however long they were deliberating and after getting all these negative feelings going, especially also from his team, not just from himself. And then after all that, he knows he's going to eventually have to play another game, whether it's a regame or whether Jadong gets the win. So he should really be having his mind on the next game. And in order to do that, he should just close the issue out as soon as possible.
Well, that's certainly one way of looking at it. I personally agree with you. However, though, I'm certainly wishing that there had been a more epic conclusion and it's gone to a fifth game and etc. Hopefully we'll see them fight against each other soon in what will be the spiritual sequel to that final.
Oh, definitely.
However, moving on to other things, and before we touch on the current TSL, you rose to fame very much due to the successes you had in the original and first racer Teamliquid Starleague. That resulted in you being invited to come over to Korea and try the life of pro gaming, which you did for a while. So, how did that work out for you, and where has it taken you since, if I may ask?
Well, my stay in Korea was pretty short, only about 2 months, but I learned a lot from it. And I'm still planning to try to make a career in esports as a gamer. And so my experience in Korea has been invaluable when thinking about how I'm going to be a pro gamer in the future. So even though I didn't accomplish a lot from that trip in itself, it was just an invaluable experience. There's no other words for it. So, really happy I did it. And right now, going into TSL2, I don't think I could just pick up the game and play as well as I am right now if I hadn't had that training in Korea. It really gets you, it really teaches you a lot about what kind of mindset you need to be a pro gamer, and now it's helping me with my part-time pro gaming as I do TSL2.
So would you consider yourself to be in fairly good shape when it comes to your Protoss skills, or are you less so than perhaps before you went to Korea, would you say?
A little bit less so, but I've picked up on the strategical developments that have happened in the past year, so I might actually be a superior player to what I was a year ago, but that's just because, strategies have developed and I can just straight copy them and play better. But mechanically, I'd say I was much better about a year ago when I was in Korea.
All right, well, we will definitely see soon how your next game will go. You play Idra on the 9th of January, I believe, and even though Idra won, and he's a clear favorite being in Korea right now and doing very well, you put up a quite impressive fight indeed, and you're playing another Terran player soon, isn't that the case?
That's correct. I'll be playing Tarsan from Poland.
Well, I understand that you don't want to disclose how you plan to beat him, but what kind of preparations do you do for a player like that? Is it individually you study his builds and strategies, or are you just focusing on your own game exclusively?
Well, I went ahead and gathered as many replays of him as I could. He played a Protoss in the qualifier rounds for the TSL, so I watched those replays. But as far as what I actually do about it, I'm mainly just playing iCup, not even focusing against Terran, but just playing everyone. And I have some builds in mind that I'm going to do against him, so every time I happen to play a Terran, I can practice those builds. But other than that, I'm just more concerned about getting my mechanics back to where they were, or even better than where they were a year ago. And I think if I can do that, then I'll be sure to win against Tarsan.
Well, I'm looking at the brackets for the next round of the TSL right now, and if you beat Tarsan and Idra beat Saucy, I believe his nickname is pronounced, you two will face again in the consecutive round. Will you beat him then, if you reach that stage?
I think my mechanics, well, I don't know how many people know this, but when I played Idra the first time, I had only been playing for 1 week of Starcraft. I had played a little bit in early December and a little bit October, November, very, very little games, and I didn't get in great shape at all. And then through late December, I didn't play for about 2.5 weeks at all. And January 2nd, I came in completely out of shape and started practicing for 1 week before that January 9th match. And so I was a little bit, not only were my mechanics not up to par, but strategically I was just a little bit confused, I guess is the best thing to say, because StarCraft is definitely a game where you have your strategy. You need to have a ton of practice games behind that strategy so that you get comfortable with every which way that the game can go. And even though I had a general idea of what to do with my builds, I didn't have that comfort of all those practice games. And so I still had a decent performance against him. I kind of surprised myself that when the games were going normally, that is, when I wasn't trying to get some cheap advantage in some risky way, even when they were going normally, I was playing okay against him off 1 week of practice. And I really think if I just play the way I feel comfortable, then in the next time I face him, I'll be able to do much better.